It started on a lonely stretch in Nevada highway, the kind of road where the wind never stops moving and the dust seems to whisper old secrets. The sun had started sinking behind the ridges, painting the desert in a bruised shade of gold and rust. The road reapers MC had been out since dawn, riding in formation like dark silhouettes cutting through the silence. Their leader, Coal Grinded Dalton, was a man of few words, the kind who carried his past like a scar that never fully healed. For him, the road was therapy, loud, dangerous, and honest. They'd stopped by a run-down gas station on Highway 50, the kind of place where time seemed to have given up. That's where they first saw her, a young girl, maybe 19, sitting by the vending machine with a cracked phone in her hands and fear written all over her face. Her clothes were torn, and her eyes darted toward the horizon every few seconds like she was waiting for something bad to arrive. Cole walked over first. He didn't ask questions right away. He just handed her a bottle of water. She hesitated before taking it, then whispered a quiet thank you. The rest of the crew, Brick, Tank, and Mouse, hung back, watching. They'd seen fear like that before. It was the kind of fear that came from running. After a few minutes, the girl spoke. Her name was Leanne. She was from California, but had been working at a warehouse owned by an international shipping company that had set up near Reno. She'd overheard something she wasn't supposed to hear. Guards at the facility speaking in Chinese, arguing about shipments that weren't listed on any manifest. She didn't understand everything, but she caught enough to know they were smuggling people, not goods. She tried to tell her supervisor. The next day, her car was followed. The day after that, she came home to find her apartment door kicked in. She ran, taking the first bus heading east. But what scared her most wasn't just that they were looking for her. It was what she'd heard the guard say before she fled. If they ride in, shoot the bikes first. Cole's expression hardened as she said that. The road reapers had friends in the trucking world. They'd heard whispers about that warehouse too, but nothing concrete. Leanne's words turned rumor into reality. He told her to stay calm, that she was safe with him. But when she begged them not to go near the facility on their bikes, her voice cracked. They know you're coming. They said you'd show up riding like you own the road. They'll be waiting. For the first time, the Reapers didn't know what to say. Their bikes weren't just machines. They were their lives, their freedom, their code. To leave them behind was to fight blind. But Cole understood something deeper in that moment. A biker's strength isn't in his engine. It's in his brothers, his loyalty, and his cause. That night, they set up camp behind an abandoned diner off the old highway. Leanne sat close to the fire, trembling beneath one of their spare jackets. Cole crouched beside her. "You did the right thing," he said quietly. "What they are doing, those men, it ends now." The plan they built that night wasn't about revenge. It was about justice. They called in help, old reapers from across the state. But this time, they came without their bikes. They rolled up in trucks, beat-up sedans, and borrowed vans. The sound of engines was replaced by the quiet hum of unity. They approached that warehouse like shadows before dawn. Inside, the air was thick with diesel and fare. They found cages, real cages, filled with terrified men and women, some of them no older than Leanne. The guards never saw it coming. Without the sound of roaring Harleys to give them away, the Reapers hit hard and fast. Cole led from the front, a tire iron in one hand and rage in his heart. Brick cut the power, plunging the place into darkness. Tank busted locks while Mouse guided the captives out. whispering in broken Spanish and Mandarin that they were free now. The guards tried to fight back, but they weren't ready for the kind of fury the Reapers carried. When one of them raised a rifle, Leanne screamed from the doorway, "Don't shoot!" And Cole spun, his body moving before his mind caught up. The bullet missed her by inches, but it was enough to remind everyone what was at stake. By dawn, the cages were empty, the guards were zip-tied, and the sheriff, an old friend of Cole's from back in his army days, was on site with federal agents. It turned out the operation had been under quiet investigation for months, but without proof, nothing could be done. Leanne's warning gave them that proof. The bikers didn't ask for credit. They didn't wait for cameras. They just stood in the desert watching the sunrise, their engines silent, their mission complete. Leanne sat on the hood of Cole's truck, staring out at the horizon. "You didn't ride," she said softly. "You listened." Cole looked at her, the wind tugging at his beard. "Sometimes the road ain't just asphalt," he said. "Sometimes it's a choice." In the days that followed, the rescued victims were placed under protection. The warehouse was seized, and the men behind it were charged under federal trafficking laws. The Road Reapers went back to their chapter house in Carson City. They didn't talk about what happened. They didn't need to. The Brotherhood was built on unspoken truth. Real justice doesn't need witnesses. Weeks later, Leanne visited them. She had color in her cheeks again, hope in her voice. She'd started volunteering for a group that helped trafficking survivors find housing and work. Before she left, she gave Cole a folded note. Inside it was written, "You saved me without riding once, but you'll always be my heroes on wheels." That night, Cole gathered the Reapers in the garage. The air was thick with the scent of oil and gasoline. He placed the note on the table. "Sometimes," he said quietly, "the loudest ride is the one we don't take." The men nodded, each lost in thought. They knew what that meant. The roar of their bikes might have defined them, but their heart, their code, was something deeper. It was the unspoken vow to protect the innocent, to ride for those who couldn't. Months later, the story began to spread online about a girl who warned bikers not to ride because it would get them killed, and how they still saved dozens of lives without firing a shot. No one knew their names. No one saw their faces. But in truck stops, bars, and biker forums, the story became legend, a quiet testament to the kind of men who were led not for rebellion, but for purpose. And every time the Road Reapers took to the road after that, Leanne's words echoed like wind in their helmets. Sometimes, heroes ride in silence. If you believe bikers can be heroes too, share this story.